All right, thank you everybody for joining our webinar today. It's titled Which Marketing Automation Platform or MAP is right for you. You'll hear me say MAP a lot, so that's what I'm referring to, Marketing Automation Platform. Same thing as marketing automation software, system, instance. We're talking about the same thing. And today we're going to compare the top 4 maps that we see a lot of our customers leverage: HubSpot, specifically their marketing hub; Adobe's Marketo project, or Marketo Engage as they've renamed it; Oracle's Eloqua product; and Salesforce's Marketing Cloud, which used to be called ExactTarget. So let's dive right in. And just real quick, logistically, if you have any questions, please pop them in the Q&A. If I don't answer them live, I will individually follow up with you and get you an answer. And we will share this recording later today. I will email it to you all. So if you have to jump out early, no worries. We always share the webinar after like a couple hours later and have it on our YouTube channel. So I'm Karin, Pindle, or KP as many people call me. I'm your host for today. I've been working at Sojourn going on 8 years now. But my career goes back 18 years in the marketing space. I was a marketer who used Eloqua. Of those 4 platforms, I used Eloqua as a marketer for 4 years. I switched over to consulting. So the last 14 years, I've been more on the consulting side, helping companies to leverage all of those marketing automation platforms, except for HubSpot. Actually, at Sojourn, that's the only platform of the 4 that we don't have services around, but we have had various consultants and clients use it. So it is a good platform. All 4 are great platforms. I love marketing automation. I love marketing technology. I consider myself more of a marketing technologist than anything, but thankfully from being a marketer first, I understood a lot of different things outside of digital marketing, like events and how to go about having a successful event for CEOs, and also events for people that didn't have chief in their title of any level at an organization. So events marketing and giving out a Harley Davidson 15 years ago at an event was a really cool thing to do back in the day. Probably would be still today. And it was cool. The color of the Harley Davidson motorcycle matched the company's color that I worked for. It was like a royal blue. It was beautiful. Anyways, that background and understanding marketing 101 level information helped me to then transfer over to becoming a consultant and trying to wrap my head around the ins and outs of the technologies that we have available to us as marketers. So we're going to stay really focused on marketing automation today, but just real quickly here, as you can see on the slide, that picture on the left-hand side, that's my partner and I, and 3 out of our 7 pets. We also have 4 cats, which you may see appear as a guest appearance on this webinar. I never know when they're going to visit. But I enjoy a lot of my spare time is spent with our pets and with Amy, my partner. We often hike anywhere we can. North Carolina, Tennessee, New York are the main places that we visit because of family members and having lived in those places. I'm from upstate New York, actually near Syracuse. That lake on the right-hand side there, that's actually a man-made reservoir in upstate New York that is one of the, I think it's 5 or 6 lakes or man-made reservoirs that feeds water to New York City, since there's not enough natural water there naturally in the city. There isn't natural water. So anyways, pretty cool place to go to. The water is beautiful. It's very clean, and my dogs love to swim in it, and one of them likes to tinkle in it, but you know, they obviously clean the water before it gets to people's sinks in the city. I found meditation to be something that has helped me to try to heal, but also just manage stress, and recommend it to anybody who has stress in their life, which is all of us. Anyway, let's keep going here. So for this webinar, what we wanted to do is really hone in on the categories that are the most automation focused. That's why you typically buy marketing automation versus, say, I don't know, an email tool like a MailChimp or Constant Contacts or an ABM tool. Very different reasons that you purchase those, but marketing automation can combine a lot of different things. So we put it into these categories. I need to fix the video setting. Bear with me for just a second. Okay, there we go. All right, logistics of Zoom. All right, so the 6 categories you can see right here are, first of all, how well do the APIs work with these 4 platforms? What native or out of the box, that's what native means, right out of the box, don't have to pay more for it. What native CRM integrations are available with the maps, and what apps, like third-party apps, connect to the maps to help you make the maps more extendable. to integrate them with other technologies out there, whether it's data transfer or to trigger something in an ABM platform or an SMS message or a direct mail piece, something like that. Then we'll dive into the next two categories really have to do with data. We all know, right? It's 101 level information in marketing. If you don't have good data management practices, your results will suffer. Could you still get decent results? Sure. Will you get great results? Likely not. Could you be out of compliance? Yes, possibly that as well and get sued. So data management is very important. We'll compare them side by side. Also how well or how long they retain data. My cat Carol here is here to help me present today. Hello, Carol. And then custom objects are in all four of the platforms. That wasn't the case. Actually, if you look back over a decade ago, they didn't even all have custom objects. So they were added into the platforms to make more data storage capabilities, more flexibility in storing your data in the marketing automation platforms. So we'll see those side by side as well. They're very different there, I will say. And then I'm going to dive into campaign management. You use a marketing automation platform at the end of the day to send out campaigns of different varieties to track them as well, a whole bunch of stuff in between. But we're going to talk about the basics of campaign management and how they stack up side by side, and also how well do they do with multi-channel campaign management. And then we'll dive into scoring, which is probably the area they are the least different. And last but not least, we'll talk about reporting and AI capabilities with the platforms. So let's get right into it. We've got a lot to cover. The first thing that helps you to understand why they're so different in certain areas is their history. When they came about, what they were focused on selling into, the problems they were trying to solve, who they were trying to solve those for, helps you wrap your head around like why certain platforms here, these maps have like way higher limitations than the others. So let's just dive right in. So Eloqua was the first one that was created in 1999. It actually was not even a marketing automation platform. Eloqua was a website chat tool in 1999 when it came out in Canada, and it was called Eloqua to help companies speak eloquently to their website visitors, kind of like a modern day Drift platform. Well, there was in the late 90s, a website crash, basically. A lot of things changed in the website world, so to speak, the internet world, and they had to shift their product at Eloqua to do something different. And with customer feedback, they basically changed it. I'm going to have to get my kitty out of here. She's a little distracting. They ultimately started to create what we know today as marketing automation. So there were other products out there like Unica, Aprimo, and a few other old school platforms that were kind of also starting with Eloqua, this category of marketing automation. So Eloqua got going, and then Salesforce Marketing Cloud, what we're talking about here is the email studio, and we're going to touch on the other studios that can get added onto the email studio that compares with these other platforms here. But it used to be called Exact Target. So Salesforce Marketing Cloud, when you log in, it actually says in the login Exact Target. So that was the platform in 2000 that was created. Now, 2013, Salesforce bought it and renamed it Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Marketo and HubSpot came about the same time in 2006. So all three out of the four platforms have been acquired except for HubSpot. HubSpot remains its own entity with various hubs. And today we're really honing in on their marketing hub, not their CRM or their content hub, etc. The parent company for each, you can see there, and I referenced each of those. The fiscal year end, I include this. So Oracle's fiscal year ends May 31st. Adobe's is November 30th. Salesforce, January 31st. HubSpot, December 31st. That is the best month for each of these platforms to get the deepest discount. However, that doesn't mean you should wait until May 30th, or sorry, the month of May to buy Eloqua to get the best deal. That, obviously the stars don't always align timing wise to do such a thing. It's just something to consider because the last quarter of their fiscal year is when they are most inclined and likely to give you the steepest discount. However, there are a lot of howevers here. It's so competitive with these platforms selling against each other that you can still get a really good discount, and always should ask for a discount any time of the year. So the next two things here, the initial market focus and the current market focus. So when Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud or Exact Target first came out, they were really focused on enterprise companies. And most of those were in the technology space, hardware, software companies. Then Marketo at HubSpot came along a few years later, and they saw an opportunity to create a similar product to Eloqua or ExactTarget, but really focused on small and medium-sized organizations. So that's what they created. Today, if you look at the marketing that each of these marketing automation platforms puts out, they all contend that they are contested. They're the best in any space, small, medium, large, for the most part. So that is an opinion. I'm not going to comment on it, but that's just where they all kind of say that they fit today. List pricing, I just include this because it's good to be able to see it side by side and to know what the names of their versions are. Sometimes they call those trims, like what trim of Eloqua are you going to buy? We're going to get standard. Trim, version, same thing. Because they all have their different names here, what we're going to do is just refer to them as small, medium, and large to keep the rest of the presentation as easy as possible for you to follow, but also to just keep it apples to apples comparison. So the pricing and things here do change. I update this whole deck I go through and research and make sure it's updated every month. So when I present it quarterly, you get the fresh information, but it's also just for Sojourn's knowledge as well, because our customers ask us a lot about these platforms as they're evaluating renewing or not, switching platforms or not, which we'd of course be happy to help you with. So the only other thing I want to mention here is that keep in mind these names change, these version names change. Actually, Eloqua's hasn't changed in like over 5 years. Marketo's just changed this month. They actually had a version called Jumpstart that was their cheapest version. They had 5 versions. They also had Enterprise. They got rid of those, so now they're down to 4 again. So they changed the most. Salesforce is very consistent with the naming of their versions, as is Eloqua, like I mentioned, and HubSpot is as well. So, but their pricing generally doesn't fluctuate all that much. Their list pricing, which you never pay list price, right? Always ask for a discount. So the other thing I want to jump into is considering where marketing automation falls into a marketing cloud. It's only one solution or one product, if you will, in a marketing cloud. And what I'm showing you here, I'm not going to go through the whole thing here, but just to give you an idea, there are at least 9 categories of solutions in most marketing clouds. You can see Oracle checks the box for almost all of them, except for it used to have a social listening, publishing, and analytics tool called Social Relationship Management, SRM. Not the most unique name, but they retired it a few years ago. Don't know all the details of why, other than I think it just wasn't adopted that well when they decided to retire it. And Adobe does not have that either today. Adobe also doesn't have a loyalty management tool, but you can see that Oracle and Salesforce do. And then, so Adobe and Salesforce are tied in the sense that they both have 2 solutions lacking. Salesforce doesn't have a DMP. They used to have one called Audience Studio, and they retired it in 2021. And actually, Salesforce has a social studio right now. If you buy Salesforce Marketing Cloud today, you can't add it on. You can't purchase it. They're in the process of retiring it. So it officially will not be able to be used November 2024, but customers that have it now can continue to use it. Now, social listening, publishing, analytics, that's en masse. This isn't meant to let's see here. It's more in line with a tool like a Hootsuite or an Octopost. So maybe one of those one day will get purchased by one of these big vendors to help check the box and have social media management platforms available, maybe for Oracle or Eloqua. We'll see. And then as you can see, HubSpot, they have their 3 hubs: marketing, CMS, and CRM. CRM is not listed here because it's not typically in a marketing cloud. But they're not really trying to build out a whole marketing cloud. They have their marketing hub that is marketing automation predominantly. So they just have a different approach to it, but they're really not, I don't think, trying to compare to having full-blown marketing cloud like Oracle, Adobe, and Salesforce. All right, so let's get into the key marketing automation categories you're here for. And you're going to see the rest of the presentation run just like this, the orange chart, side by side, same order every time, no particular order: Eloqua, Marketo, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, that's what SFMC is, and HubSpot. So the first thing is, how good are their APIs? How strong are their APIs? That makes a big difference, especially if you have to do like a custom integration of any kind, or if you want to use the apps these platforms have available to them. So examples of apps you might use with a marketing automation platform, you might use an app like a Zoom webinar app to push attendee data into the marketing automation platform, or to post it back over to register people in the webinar platform. Same thing with an event tool, like a Cvent or an Eventbrite, a survey tool like Survey Gizmo, Survey Monkey. There's all sorts of tools, homegrown databases. You might want to do a data integration, non-standard CRMs that don't out of the box integrate with one of these marketing automation platforms, flat file integrations, which is at the bottom. We're going to touch on that. Different channels like SMS, mobile, social posts, pushing out a social post, print, or gifts, automating gifts being sent out to contacts at a certain part of a campaign or an engagement studio, if you will, etc. So basically, if they don't have a lot of apps, it makes that platform less extendable for multi-channel. So let's get into the first thing here. Total number of certified apps. Now, certified means typically that it's stamped by Oracle, Adobe, Salesforce, or HubSpot, their IT folks, that it is a safe app to use with Eloqua, Marketo, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, or HubSpot. So Eloqua has 228 certified apps. They have in the Oracle Cloud Marketplace, it's called their App Store. Marketo, there's 47 in the Adobe Exchange App Store. Now, before Adobe bought Marketo, Marketo had hundreds of apps that could be used with Marketo. Most of them still can be used with Marketo. Again, there are hundreds of apps that can be used with Marketo. However, Adobe has only stamped 47 of them as certified safe apps. Doesn't mean they're not safe. It just means those vendors who created the apps to use on Marketo haven't gone through the Adobe process to get them certified. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, 77. Their app store is called the App Exchange. And then HubSpot, there's 183, and their app store is called the App Marketplace. So the APIs, the next three things here we're going to talk about relate to the APIs. We've got first the REST API. That's often used for those apps to run off of and to interact with the marketing automation platform. It can also be used for data transfers. And what you're seeing here is the max limit with the most expensive version of each marketing automation platform. So that's what this little caveat at the bottom is. I haven't had that in past presentations of this webinar, and I just wanted to clarify for people. Depending on what version of Eloqua, for example, that you get, if you get the most expensive version of Eloqua, the limit is 500,000 REST API calls per day. If you get the cheaper versions, like the smaller medium version, it's less than 500,000. There's a limit. It gets higher with each version. With Marketo, their most expensive version has up to 50,000 API calls included. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you can see 555,000, 555. Whew. And then HubSpot is 500,000. So the one that's the most behind, just you can glance at this and see that, is Marketo with the REST API strength, basically. Now the bulk APIs are commonly used for data transfers, not to run the apps. So it doesn't have to be high volume, but oftentimes it is. It might be with, like, if you have a homegrown database and you want to integrate it with one of these platforms via API, you would oftentimes use the bulk API. So again, this is the max for any version, the highest version, of each of the marketing automation platforms. You can see this is the export limit and then the import limit. They're the same for each of the platforms. But you can see Eloqua and HubSpot actually have the strongest bulk API, and then Salesforce Marketing Cloud and Marketo are tied with their 10 megabyte limits. And then the last feature here is if you don't want to do an API integration and there's no third-party paid app to use to do an integration, you can always do an SFTP integration. Secure File Transfer Protocol is what SFTP stands for, and it's another word for it is flat file integration. So no APIs involved. It's oftentimes faster to get live, to set up and get live with an IT person helping set up the SFTP server. And think of that SFTP as sitting between, let's just say, Salesforce Marketing Cloud and your homegrown database. And the homegrown database scheduled to drop off files at the SFTP server, and Salesforce Marketing Cloud goes, retrieves it, pulls that file, imports it into Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud are the only two of these 4 platforms that can do that. Marketo and HubSpot don't have integration capabilities with SFTP servers. And a lot of people still use them, actually, so it's nice to have. All right, so native CRM integrations. This means out of the box, no extra charge. You can set up the integration with these marketing automation platforms and the CRMs listed here in the top row, no extra charge. So you can see Eloqua's got 3, Salesforce CRM, Microsoft Dynamics, and Oracle Sales Cloud. Marketo just has 2, same thing as Salesforce Marketing Cloud, those 2, Salesforce CRM and Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And then HubSpot has Salesforce CRM and their own HubSpot CRM. The next feature to consider when you have a CRM integration with one of the marketing automation platforms is how tightly it can integrate with the CRM's various objects or data tables that it has. Eloqua, the way its integration works with those 3 CRMs, it can see all of the objects or data tables in the CRM system, unless you modify the user in the CRM and don't allow it to do so. But the way it's configured to integrate with those 3 CRMs, it can pull data from any object in the CRM, and it can technically write to any object. You don't always want it to write to any object, but it can, without custom coding. Now, Marketo, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and HubSpot, can you do it? Yes, you would have to write like a webhook or a custom API call to do so. So the key is we're trying to hone in on what can you do out of the box, as natively or out of the box as possible, to not cost more to set up and maintain. The next feature is the marketing automation platform's production or live environment. It can integrate with more than one CRM environment at the same time. So if you have a, let's just say Salesforce CRM test environment that needs to integrate with Eloqua, pick on that, Eloqua, and then we need to test it, make sure it works well, and then switch over Eloqua integrating with Salesforce production or live environment. Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud can do this, but Marketo and HubSpot don't have the capability. Ultimately, what you have to do with HubSpot and Marketo is purchase a test environment, Marketo test environment, for example, and integrate it with your Salesforce CRM test environment, build it, test it, get the thumbs up, it's good to go, and then redo all of that work in Marketo production with Salesforce CRM production. Whereas in Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you just switch between the users. You don't have to do all of that setup again. You should do all of the testing all over again, but you don't have to do all the building again. So it saves time, ultimately, feature 3. The 4th thing here is another time saver, not a huge one. The other feature there, number 3, saves more time, but the marketing automation platform has the ability to send an email alert to the admin of the platform or anybody's email address you populate whenever an integration error occurs, which they do have errors occur. Even if you set them up perfectly, naturally errors will occur between data not being able to transfer between the 2 platforms. Eloqua is the only platform that has this feature where you can set it up and just plug in email addresses of your Eloqua admins, or it could be your CRM admins as well, to get an email notification sent from Eloqua when there is an integration error between Eloqua and the CRM that is integrated with. The 5th feature here is the integration with the map allows for intentional duplicate leads in the CRM system without custom coding. Again, we're trying to avoid custom coding as much as we can and just use these platforms as they are intended out of the box. So Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud can do this. Marketo and HubSpot cannot. You'd have to do custom coding to make it work. Why would you even have duplicate leads intentionally in your CRM? Well, it's pretty common use case in some companies where they have salespeople selling certain products and only selling a subset of products, but they can't sell other products, and they don't want their salespeople to be able to see each other's leads. So I might reach out as a lead a year ago, buy a product, be a customer, and then a year later, be interested in a different product and need to talk to a different salesperson at an organization. Like at Oracle, that's how they sell, and it's similar to Adobe and Salesforce. So anyways, there's often a good use case for intentional duplicate leads in the CRM, and you want to know the marketing automation platform can properly create and update the correct lead in the CRM system and know when to do each of those scenarios. So Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud can do that. Now we're going to switch over to data retention and management, and then I'll get into custom objects after that. So let's just start with the nomenclature here. So the maximum number of database fields in Eloqua, you've got the contact database. That's the hub of Eloqua, the main part of the database. And you get 250 contact fields. With Marketo, it's the persons database. It used to be called leads, and they renamed it to persons a couple of years ago. You get as many person fields as you want. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's just like Eloqua. It's a contact database, 250 fields, same exact as Eloqua. HubSpot, they also named their part of their database contacts, and you get 1,000 contact fields maximum. Data retention. So this is, I'm going to like flash my hands or something here. This is where there is a big difference in data retention. So what we're talking about retaining here specifically are the activities marketing automation platforms create and track, like email sends, email opens, emails click through, hard bounce backs from emails, soft bounce backs, unsubscribes, opt-ins, website visits, the marketing automation platforms, landing page visits, form submissions, etc. So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about storing contacts and persons. When you have a contact or a person in one of these platforms, it'll stay in it until you delete it. So we're talking just about the tracked activities for number 2 here. So Eloqua keeps all activities 25 months. Marketo keeps most activities it tracks for 25 months, except for what they call high volume activities, which they store for 90 days, such as website visits. Whenever a score changes, that traction of that score changing after 90 days, it's deleted out of Marketo. Email sends activities, email delivered activities tied to a person record. Those are examples of their high volume activities that they track, and they get removed from Marketo after 90 days. So it's very important to keep that in mind, especially if you have a shorter sales cycle and want to use Marketo. Doesn't mean you can't use it, but you just have to keep that in mind. We've had customers have to do some workarounds because of that exception. And it wasn't always the case with Marketo. That was something that Adobe changed with their retention policy probably like 5 or 6 years ago now. It's been a while. But it used to be with Marketo, they were the same exact as Eloqua, 25 months for all activities. And then Salesforce Marketing Cloud, 6 months is how long they retained their marketing tracked activities, and HubSpot 12 months. Database partitions. So this is more to just let you know that all four platforms have capabilities to partition the contacts or persons within the marketing automation platform. It's a feature that comes with, for Eloqua and Marketo, the medium and large version. You can purchase it as an add-on for their small version. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud and HubSpot, it's included in their large version, but again, you can add it on as an additional cost to their smaller medium versions. So this is like basically putting up walls between the contacts and Eloqua. So if you have different marketing teams or brands sharing one Eloqua, they can do so, and you can have guardrails in place in the platform. Technically speaking, those are set up to separate the contacts and the user's ability to see them, to market to them, to see them in reporting even as well. Now, the next feature here, number 4, native or out of the box data management tools, meaning there's no app required, no coding required. Eloqua has various data management tools that comes with its medium and large versions. It does not come with a small version. You can add it on for additional cost. I listed out the names of some of their data management tools. And again, no coding required. Marketo has flow actions. So just side-by-side comparison to Eloqua, they have less data management tools. For those of you who know Eloqua or Marketo, flow actions are similar to Eloqua's field update rules. So, and then Salesforce Marketing Cloud has automations to help clean the data to an extent. And then really the main way in Salesforce Marketing Cloud that you clean or maintain your data in an automated fashion is using SQL coding with their data extensions. It's actually does apply some coding. So I need to update this because Salesforce Marketing Cloud, oftentimes people will use SQL to keep the data clean there. The other thing I put here on the slide is that for Salesforce Marketing Cloud, if a customer has Salesforce CRM and it's integrated with Marketing Cloud, Sometimes the best practice is keep the data clean in Salesforce CRM so that when it comes into Marketing Cloud, it's standardized, it's formatted well, it's clean. But not everybody can do that. So, we have a lot of marketers who get data first into Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and they want to clean it there first before it goes to CRM. And that's where you would use automations and oftentimes SQL coding to clean it so that it's ready in the right format to be passed to Salesforce CRM. HubSpot has automations. So this is something that is one of the biggest differences between the platforms as far as data goes. Eloqua has a lot more data management features available as listed here. And it goes back to the history of it. It was built for technology companies with lots of data and the enterprise space. So lots of data, lots of money to help the Eloqua product team 20 years ago figure out ways to automatically clean that data. So that's how they built out all of those features. And the competitors here just have kept up in a limited fashion. Most people, if they really want to clean their data for Marketo or HubSpot, they'll use third-party apps to help do that. So it's an additional cost to consider, but it's an answer to it. It's a way to solve for it. Number 5, the 5th feature here, field change history tracking. So that means if I want to pick out a field in the marketing automation platform, like a Marketo person field, and I want to be able to track the history of whenever that field changes, like maybe the job title field, I want to see when that changes, or a score field. So with Eloqua, you can do this for up to 10 contact fields you select, and it will track the changes in those 10 fields for an unlimited amount of time. Flip-flop that a little bit. With Marketo, you can track as many person fields as you want and the changes in those fields, but it will only retain the changes in those fields for 90 days. So just keep that in mind. It's not unlimited. Salesforce Marketing Cloud and HubSpot do not have this feature in them. They really rely on you using field history changing tracking in the CRM system, which that's been a feature in CRMs for many years. All right, so custom objects. So what the heck are custom objects for those that don't know? It's another way to store data inside the marketing automation platform. Really what they started out being used for was you had like one contact or one person in the marketing automation platform, and you wanted to be able to store data that they did over the years, or over a year, a month, multiple times. So you had multiple records you wanted to store back to that, tie back to that one person. And you needed a way to do so without storing it on person or contact fields and constantly overwriting field values. So an example might be survey responses. If you're using SurveyMonkey and Marketo, SurveyMonkey can send survey responses into a Marketo custom object, and it won't overwrite the last survey that I filled out. So it'll have a history of, like, let's say the last 5 survey responses that I submitted, and you can see that tied to my person record in Marketo. So there are various use cases for it. I've listed out some of them here. Let's go right into it. So the first feature, can you create and manage the custom object in the marketing automation platform? The custom object is the bucket, like the survey responses 2023, or event attendance 2022. Those are the actual buckets that hold the records within them. Eloqua and Marketo, you can do this in all versions. You can create and manage the custom objects right inside of those platforms. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's in all versions. Now with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, I just want to mention, they don't use the word custom objects. Instead, it's called data extensions, which are used like custom objects. They have other uses as well, like in Eloqua, Marketo, and HubSpot terminology, shared lists, static lists. A data extension could be used as one of those as well, but also as custom objects. And then HubSpot has custom objects with all versions, but they're only accessible via the API. It must be related to a HubSpot standard object like the contact object. Now, the maximum custom objects in the marketing automation platform, these are hard limits. The next category is going to be soft limits. But when you get Eloqua small version, you get 3 custom objects. With a medium and large, as many as you want to set up, you can. Marketo, 0 with the small version, and then you get 10 with the medium and large versions. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, they don't do it because data extensions function differently. They do it by megabytes. So it's 1 megabyte, 15 megabytes, and 100 megabytes by their versions. And then HubSpot, You don't get any custom objects with their small and medium version, but you get 10 with their large versions. So anytime you're seeing me in this presentation say it doesn't come with the small version or the medium version, you can always pay extra to add it on to the smaller medium version. Like HubSpot, you could get the small version and add on some custom objects, like 10 if you wanted to. It will just cost more. Number 3, the maximum custom object records within those custom objects across, let's say you had 8 custom objects in Marketo. The number of records that you can have in those 8 custom objects for Marketo, let's start with there. Again, Marketo doesn't have custom objects with their small version unless you add it on, but with their medium and large versions, you can get 2 million records stored across all your custom objects. Compare that to Eloqua, all versions of it, 25 million is the maximum number of records you could have in your custom objects. A record would be like the actual survey response, like Karin Pindle, she answered yes to question 1, no to question 2, happy to question 3, I don't know. That's an actual record, the survey response in my example prior. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, 30 million records. They take the cake here. They win with the most capabilities or capacity for their custom objects, and that comes with their large version. HubSpot, again, custom objects are not included with small and medium version, but with their large version, it's up to 500,000. So they're the lowest as far as the number of custom objects and records within those objects that you can get is with HubSpot. Feature number 4. So the custom object records within the marketing automation platform, what can you do with them in the marketing automation platform? In Eloqua, you can view those records and the custom objects. You can create new ones for testing purposes. You can edit them, delete, all right there within the Eloqua interface. You can also do each of those actions via a file upload or the API. So all boxes are checked there. With Marketo, you can view them inside of the Marketo interface. If you want to create one for a test or edit one, review, delete some, you have to do those actions, create, edit, delete via file upload or API. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you can view, create, edit, and delete right there within Salesforce Marketing Cloud, or you can do this using SQL coding and via API. So it's similar to Eloqua instead of file upload with Eloqua, it's SQL with Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And then HubSpot, this is more like Marketo. You can only view the records in HubSpot, the custom object records. If you want to create, edit, or delete them, even just one of them, you have to do it via API. And then, oftentimes, why are you using custom objects data? So it's very often used to personalize an email, a text message, to trigger who to send it to for segmentation purposes, scoring sometimes, but personalization is usually the top use case for why you need this data stored in the marketing automation platform. And thankfully, today, it wasn't always the case, but all versions of all these platforms, if you get custom objects included, you can use the custom object data for personalization. Good news. Pardot used to be on here. I used to present that, and it did not have that capability. So it was kind of funky, but you could use their custom objects for segmentation scoring. All right, now we're going to get into campaign management. I have 2 slides here, one for the basics like you see here, and then one for multi-channel. I'm not even going to go omni-channel. That's a whole nother thing. So first thing is the ability to create a segment or an audience and have a builder to do that without having to use custom coding. All versions of all these platforms can do this. One caveat I will mention is there are people who like to do SQL coding, and the only platform that can do that is Salesforce Marketing Cloud out of the box. Drag and drop campaign workflow builder. So it looks different for sure in each of these platforms. Eloqua and Salesforce Marketing Cloud look the closest, but they all have this. Now, Salesforce Marketing Cloud is the only one where it's not included in all versions. It's only included in their large version. You can add it onto their small and medium. The ability, number 3, the ability with a campaign to start it, stop it if you need to make an edit to it, or move people around in that campaign or program. There's different terminology in each of these platforms, but or Engagement Studio and Salesforce Marketing Cloud speak. So Marketo and Eloqua, no matter what version you get, you can stop, pause, edit, and restart a campaign, and it will flow just like it'll pick right up where it's supposed to. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud, you can do it with all versions, but there is a time limitation. You can only pause a campaign or an engagement studio for 14 days. And then HubSpot, it doesn't have this feature yet for their campaigns. Number 4, the feature where you can clone a campaign or program or engagement studio and all of the assets that are in that campaign. So an asset might be a couple of emails, forms, landing pages, SMS messages. So this is not a feature available in Eloqua or Salesforce Marketing Cloud. They allow you to copy the structure, like the workflow of the campaign or studio, but it won't copy the assets. It'll include the copied versions assets. Marketo and HubSpot do allow the cloning of campaign workflow, and it'll make a copy in that clone copy of all the other campaigns assets. So you don't accidentally edit, say, an email from a live campaign. But then you got to remember to go into that clone campaign and edit all those copied assets. Don't forget. No, number 5, email A/B testing. All of them can do a variation of email A/B testing. HubSpot is the only one that does not include it in all versions. It comes with their small and medium and large versions. You have to add it onto the small version. Now, the next 2 features are similar. Email send time optimization and subject line optimization are under the category typically of AI features. So with Eloqua, send time optimization is included with their paid AI add-on, or you can use a paid third party if you don't want to use their AI add-on. Marketo, there's no out-of-the-box AI feature for this. You have to use a paid third-party app. With Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's included with their large version. It's their Einstein feature. And then HubSpot, you would have to use a paid third-party app like Marketo. There's no out-of-the-box feature for it. Send time optimization, if you don't know what it is, it's basically the platform looking at a person's history of when they typically open emails or click through them, or a combination of those 2 typically is used in the algorithm to figure out the best time to send Joe Schmo an email, because Joe tends to, based on his history that we can see in the marketing automation platform, he typically opens or clicks through emails on Thursdays at 9:30 a.m. GMT. So that's when the marketing automation platform will hold that email and wait to send it to him. So it's a cool feature to try out. Email subject line optimization, it's a variation of an AI tool also that allows for the platform to help you figure out the best subject line based on the history of your prior successful subject lines. So Eloqua has this with its paid AI add-on, and Marketo does not have this feature yet, neither does HubSpot. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, again, includes it with their large version, with their Einstein feature. I should say functionality because it has a couple different features in it. And then the marketing calendar that we like to see, like a 30 or a 28 or 31-day calendar with all the days and the weeks. Eloqua does not have this. You have to use a paid third-party app to get a calendar view in Eloqua. Its campaign view, for instance, is just row by row, not calendar. It's been a common request of Eloqua users for years. Now, Marketo and Salesforce Marketing Cloud and HubSpot all have out of the box, all versions come with it, a marketing calendar view. They don't all have the ability to edit that calendar, but at least you can see a calendar view of your scheduled campaigns. Usually it'll show your completed campaigns. Sometimes it will show your drafted campaigns. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to multi-channel. And actually on that last slide, somebody just asked, what happens after 14 days in Salesforce Marketing Cloud when you pause a campaign? What does it mean that it's only possible to stop a campaign for 14 days? So that's a great question. I believe what happens is it will, if you pause the campaign and the 15th day hits, it just completely keeps it disabled. It doesn't automatically then re-enable that campaign, or in Salesforce speak, engagement studio. But if you keep it paused and then like it's a month later after you paused it, it will just not allow you to re-enable it, which is a bummer. Good question. All right, let's go to multi-channel. So multi-channel versus omni-channel. Multi-channel is you are executing marketing content out there to the world one way or another, maybe via email, websites, maybe a marketing automation platform's landing page or web page, mobile, which has a couple of things to it. You can see the channels there. Omni-channel is all those channels that you are marketing on and communicating with human beings on look and feel the same. They pick right up one after the other. You're not like texting me and emailing me about the same offer. If I jump on the offer that you emailed me, you're not going to text me and offer me the same thing that I already bought, like those undies that I bought last week. I don't know. Anyway, so omni-channel is extremely difficult to achieve. Few marketing teams or RevOps teams have done it. It's fantastic when you do. The results are usually amazing because you're really giving your customers and your prospects a very personalized, consistent experience. And it's there's a lot of listening involved with your data to see like, well, KP responded to that offer via email. Let's make sure the platform checks before it sends out a text message with the same offer. Okay, she clicked there and went through and bought the underwear from that offer. Don't text her about it because now we're duplicating the effort and it's not as good of an experience. Probably should pick a different product than underwear in my examples, but anyway, let's just go through this. So the first feature is email. All of these platforms can send out emails in all versions. I'm not going to chat about their email builders. They're very comparable. Which one's better? I don't know. It's an opinion anyway. So they all have drag and drop email builders, but they all can send out emails in mass or one by one. Forms and landing pages, they all have forms and landing pages, or like Salesforce Marketing Cloud calls them, cloud pages. So the only difference here is Salesforce Marketing Cloud forms and landing pages or cloud pages are not included with their small version. You can pay more and add it on, but they are included with their medium and large versions. Now, mobile marketing includes a couple things. SMS, which is just text messaging words. MMS, which is text messaging words, but you can put like a GIF or an image in it. There's voice push or automated voice messages, like a reminder to attend a dental appointment or something like that, or to come to an event. And there's push notifications to your mobile device that we're talking about here over and over. And that's where there's a notification usually like on your home screen. And then there's in-app notifications. So if you want to send a message, like Bank of America sends me in-app notifications, I have to log into the app, into the messaging area. I'll see the notification they sent me to check my latest FICO score or something. So with Eloqua, they came out with SMS out of the box. It's a paid add-on, no matter what version of Eloqua that you get, or you can use paid third-party apps with Eloqua. You don't have to use their native SMS tool. With folks who want to do SMS and MMS, so the most effective text messaging, if it's not a transactional text message you're trying to send, if it's more for prospects, then you'd probably want to have images in it now and then. MMS is what you need to do that. So Eloqua can't do that yet out of the box, but that's where paid third-party apps often are used. Similarly with Marketo, for years they've had a paid vibes add-on for text messaging. Some people will still use a paid third-party app because they have more robust like MMS, voice messaging, not just SMS. Salesforce Marketing Cloud has what's called Mobile Studio, which can do everything we're talking about here, which is fantastic. And then HubSpot has a paid third-party app wrap. They haven't built any out-of-the-box functionality for HubSpot to do anything with mobile marketing like those things I've mentioned. Now, direct mail, it's not gone, guys. It goes in ebbs and flows. It's like it's in, it's out, it's in, it's out. Faxing, I think, is gone for good for those of us who've done faxing marketing. And anyways, I think that's gone. That's why you don't see it here. But direct mail, and that can include sending somebody, a print piece. You could be sending them a book or chocolate. I got branded Oreos. They were freaking good, and they were branded with the company's logo that sent them. I thought that was awesome. I almost bought some to give away to people, then I realized they were expensive. Anyways, you can automatically in a campaign in these marketing automation platforms, have somebody hit a step in that campaign and send them Oreos. How cool is that? Branded Oreos. Just one example, but all of them, they do not have direct mail out of the box. You'd have to use a paid third-party app. Website chat. Eloqua is a paid third-party app. There's no native feature for it. Marketo a few years ago, I think just a year or two ago, added their dynamic chat add-on. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, no native feature for this. You'd have to use a paid third-party app. And then HubSpot has a paid what's called conversations add-on that you can use with any version. Social integration. This is not functionality to replace a social media marketing platform like a Hootsuite or an Octopus or a Sprout. This is like more of a, think of it as a light integration with like LinkedIn or Twitter, Facebook, not even all of the social platforms out there like TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest. So Eloqua and Marketo, no matter what version you get, you have some level of social integration. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, I mentioned this earlier, they have their social studio now. It's an add-on to all versions, but it's being retired in November of next year. And then HubSpot with their medium and large versions, you get some level of social integration with social channels. None of them do like mass social publishing or listening. Salesforce Marketing Cloud is the only exception there with its social studio. But again, it's going away. I got to go faster here because we're almost done. Scoring, the ability to do multiple scoring models or engines live at the same time. You can see the limitations here. Eloqua, you can only have one live with their small version, 15 with their medium, 30 with their large version, which comes with 20 Eloqua instances or environments. That's why it says 30 per instance. Marketo has no limits on this with any version, which is pretty cool. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Salesforce Marketing Cloud does not have automated scoring out of the box. So you either use the paid Pardot add-on, which has been renamed, Pardot has been renamed Account Engagement, or there's other paid third-party add-ons, which the most commonly used one with Salesforce Marketing Cloud is SalesWings, costs extra. HubSpot, you can see the numbers there, 0, 5, and 25. The marketing automation platform automatically degrades the score. Eloqua does this with all versions. It's the only platform that does this. It automatically resets everybody's score, rescores the database daily. That's how it does it systematically. You can't turn it on or off. Marketo doesn't do that. You have to program it to do so or use negative scoring in your smart campaign. HubSpot is very similar to that, to Marketo. In Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's the same almost the whole way down, except for with predictive scoring, but you have to use a paid add-on to do scoring with Marketing Cloud since it's not out of the box. And the multiple scores viewable, like that you could pass to your CRM if you have one, and viewable in these marketing automation platform sales tools that most of them provide. This is available in all versions of Eloqua. It doesn't work with Marketo or HubSpot. Only one score can pass to the CRM unless you do custom coding, but we're talking as much as we can out of the box today, again, out of the box. And then account scoring, couple different ways you can do this with these platforms. Eloqua, you can use the account fields and do a program to do scoring. You can buy their DataFox product, which does its own scoring and passes it back to Eloqua. And then they also have their paid AI add-on, which does account scoring, but only so far of activities or engagement level, not like geographic information, industry, data like that. Marketo is similar to Eloqua. You can score off their account fields, or you can use a paid third-party app. And then HubSpot, they actually do have account scoring included with their medium and large versions, which is pretty cool. Predictive scoring, it's a paid third-party app with Eloqua or Marketo. Doesn't come out of the box. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it does come with their medium and large version, and HubSpot, it comes with their large version. And the last category here, it has a lot to do with reporting and AI, but it's also where I've seen companies who have purchased these platforms get nickel and dimed. And when they're in the beginning of setting up the platform, the new platform, during implementation, they find out, shoot, we only have 5 users with HubSpot. We need 15. So they have to go back to HubSpot and purchase more. So just keep this in mind with the medium version of each of these platforms for marketing users. You can see the numbers there. It's actually the same exact number for each with the number of reporting users that you get, people that just need to run reports or see reports or dashboards. You can see the numbers across the board there. And then the third thing here is just talking about which of these platforms comes with a full-blown business intelligence tool versus pre-baked or canned reports that have limited capabilities to edit. Now, Eloqua comes with Insight. It's a BI tool. It's one of Oracle's BI tools. They've renamed Insight. for Eloqua. It comes with all versions. Marketo's BI tool is called Visible, which they've renamed to Marketo Measure. It's a paid add-on for any version of Marketo. Now, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, this comes with their medium and large versions called Datorama, or they've renamed it Marketing Cloud Intelligence, Datorama. Those reports and dashboards, again, come with a medium and large version. HubSpot, it's canned reports. It's what you see is what you get, with some capabilities, of course, to edit the reports and dashboards, but not like you would be able to customize with a BI tool and mix and match metrics and such. AI in general. So Eloqua, it's a paid AI add-on. It comes with like 4 feature sets of AI functionality. Marketo, they call it Sensei. It comes with their medium and large versions if you get those. Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Einstein, comes with their medium and large versions. HubSpot does not yet, for their Marketing Hub, have AI functionality. I believe they do for their CRM. And then the last thing here is the marketing automation platform has a sandbox available, or a test environment, if you will, and it connects to the marketing automation platform production or live environment. So all of them have the ability to have a test environment and connect it to production. Or with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, it's a bit different terminology. They call it business units, and you can have like 5 different Salesforce Marketing Cloud business units for maybe 5 very distinctly different marketing teams using the platform, and they can share assets and some data between each other. And it can be used for one business unit, could be used for just testing and nothing live, for example. So my last tip I want to leave you guys with, all these features I've gone through help you solve, of course, your marketing challenges and hopefully help you achieve your goals. That's the intent. But if you don't set them up properly from the get-go, you'll waste your time, your energy, your money. You won't have as great of results as you could. So you want to make sure you set the platform up properly and train your team to learn how to properly use the platform. There are definitely wrong ways to use these platforms. I've been there and done that myself and learned the hard way. So try not to do that. So my tip I leave you with is shop for not just the best marketing automation platform, but also the best team to help you implement it and learn how to use it. The faster, the better you learn how to use it, the better your results will be, and the faster you'll see those results, like time savings, improved campaign performance, etc. So I just have a list of questions here. I would recommend you ask whoever you're considering to hire to help you implement the technology you've chosen, whichever marketing automation platform it is. There are independent contractors out there that do this. You've got Sojourn that does this for various marketing automation platforms. You've got the consulting people at Oracle, Adobe, Salesforce, and HubSpot as well. And you want to ask them how many of the, like whatever marketing automation platform you're talking to them about, like how many Marketo implementations has your company completed? And then ask them how many years of Marketo implementation experience will our main consultant have? You don't want somebody that like, this is their second Marketo implementation they've ever run. Not a great experience. They should shadow another consultant on their team before they're running the show, and then have that person help them. And then ask them how many of your consultants are Marketo experts, certified experts, have taken the test through Adobe to get certified on Marketo. And there's different variations of certification as well. And then last thing is, this is probably one of the most important questions I can leave you with, to ask that implementation team, what is our team responsible for versus your team consulting partner? Because oftentimes they will send you a proposal and you're like, great, it's $5,000, easy peasy, let's implement Marketo or Eloqua or whatever. And if that's the case, if it's under $10,000 US, that usually means your team is doing most of the configuration, or they're not usually doing a lot if it's less than $10,000. So there's sneaky ways that people do that when they propose to you. We don't do that at Sojourn, but I've heard about people, not being happy about having that happen to them, and then they hire us after the fact, and it just wastes time and money. So with that, if you ever want to see this presentation again, we do it quarterly. We'll do it again in April 19th to be exact. So I'll send you the recording later today. Thanks a bunch. This is actually my last time hosting this webinar. And then I'm going to have a colleague of mine, Phil, take it over. He is an expert on these platforms as well, so you'll be in great hands. But if you have any other questions, if you want any help evaluating the platforms or training or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be glad to help. or at least just have the conversation. You don't have to pay us necessarily, but we could talk about if the paid engagement even made sense. So I wish you all a very happy new year and much success, and take care, everybody. Have a good day. Bye, folks.